Hello and welcome to UK Gaming Network. I'm Brian, also known as UK Jane Zoidberg, and it's time to count down the next 30 games of what I believe are the 100 best Amiga games ever released. First of all, I'd like to say a massive thank you to everybody who has watched, enjoyed and commented on part 1 of this countdown. I'm truly humbled by the response, and it's great to see all of the game suggestions and predictions in the comments. I should reiterate that this list is entirely my own opinion, and I can almost guarantee that there are going to be games that are missing that you feel should have been included. Just because a game isn't in my final 100 doesn't mean that I think that it's a bad game, unless it's Rise of the Robots, and rest assured I am making note of all the games that are being mentioned the most. That way I can add them to my live stream schedule once the top 10 has been revealed. So find yourselves a comfy chair, settle back as I reveal all of the games from numbers 70 to 41. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this video, tell your friends, and make sure you come back next Monday for part 3. The Lost Vikings, 1993, Silicon and Synapse. From Blizzard before they were Blizzard. This is a funny and brain-bending puzzle platform game that will keep you busy for ages. It also helps that it's full of great characters who you'll want to spend time with, and the banter between the 3 main characters often raises a smile. Toki, 1991, Ocean France. An almost perfect Amiga version of the arcade classic that cemented Ocean France's legacy as one of the best Amiga developers when it came to coin-op conversions. It's a game that I've completed many times over the years, and it doesn't outstay its welcome. Dynablaster, 1991, Hudson Soft. Grab 4 friends and invite them to take part in the greatest multiplayer experience you can have, anywhere. Only a disappointing single player mode keeps it this far down the countdown. Head Over Heels, 1991, Colin Porch. One of the greatest Spectrum games ever made, I placed it at number 2 on my top 100, arrived on the Amiga with a bit of colour added to the graphics and little else in the way of changes. Still a classic game regardless, and the recently released sequel is even better, but came out just after I'd finalised my top 100. Virus, 1988, David Braben. It took me a very long time to master the controls of this game. Both mouse and keyboard controls are equally tricky. But once I did, it became an immensely satisfying and challenging arcade shooter with super smooth 3D graphics. Another World, 1991, Delphine Software. One of the most atmospheric games ever made, where the alien world that you'll have to escape from feels so real that I could almost feel the wind blowing past me as I was playing. I still go back and play it from start to finish every couple of years. Crossout, 1990, Rainbow Arts. Brilliant underwater side-scrolling shooter with excellent atmospheric visuals and a unique weapon system that encouraged me to keep playing and experiment with different loadouts. Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker, 1991, Archer McLean. Blew everyone's mind with how realistic and easy to play this was when it was originally released, and it's a testament to just how playable it is that I still have fun playing it today. It actually made me better at the real thing. Lotus Turbo Challenge 2, 1991, Magnetic Fields. Visually, a massive leap from the first game, and the change to more arcade-style point-to-point races against the clock made this a more accessible title too. Linking up two Amigas and playing 4-player races is some of the most fun that I've ever had. Gravity Force 2, 1993, Bits Productions. Take the challenging gameplay of Thrust and pit two players against each other across a huge number of maps. This is hugely entertaining, and somehow it was given away free on magazine cover discs.
Bingo! Bingo!
UFO Enemy Unknown 1995 Climax. One of the hardest strategy games ever made, but also one of the most replayable. Every time you fail, you'll want to try again almost instantly, and losing squad members can be utterly devastating. Devil's Temple 2022 Geezer Games. Excellent homage to arcade beat-em-ups from the 80s like Kung Fu Master and Vigilante. This looks great, has tight controls, lots of secrets to find, and a mature mode full of blood and swearing. Harlequin 1991 The Warp Factory. A platform game like no other, and that helps it to stand out from the crowd. The ingenuity behind the levels and the precision gameplay almost make you overlook the fact that you can't have music and sound effects at the same time. Almost. Lemmings 1991 DMA design. No question that this was an iconic release at the time, and it's still got bags of charm. It's just not a game that I choose to play as often as some of the others in 2026. Definitely deserves its place in gaming history though. Wings, 1990, Cinemaware. More about capturing the feel and atmosphere, as well as honouring the heroic pilots of World War I, than it is about being a realistic simulator. But that's what will keep you coming back to play it over and over again for many years. Datastorm, 1988, visionary design. Hugely enjoyable Defender clone with a few elements of drop zone for good measure, and a 2-player co-op mode. Hard as nails, but also maddeningly addictive as you chase the top of those high score tables. Leander, 1991, Traveller's Tales. One of the first games that I remember offering 2-button support for controllers, and it made an already good platform game into a great one. Probably the best use of the signature Psygnosis look, with excellent environments and enemies. Micro Machines, 1993, Codemasters. Enjoyable overhead racer with the ingenious concept of racing around household locations, but grab a friend and it becomes an absolute riot in 2-player mode. Shame it didn't support a 4-player adapter though. Kickoff 2, 1990, Dino Dini. This was the football game for me and my brother for many years, and when I joined Games X, it was a game that would get loaded up every lunch break. The introduction of Aftertouch, allowing you to curl your shots, was an absolute game changer. Tiny Bobble 2020, Manfred Lindsner. Bubble Bobble is a classic game however you play it, and there's nothing wrong with the original Amiga version from Software Creations. Tiny Bobble, however, is just slightly better, and that's why it's included instead. Switchblade 2, 1991, George Allen. Extremely playable action platform game packed with hidden areas and secrets that encourage you to explore its vast levels. Looks great too, with each level having a look all of its own and large detailed sprites. Volfeed 1991, Empire Software. The arcade version was a brilliant reworking of a classic, giving Kicks the same treatment that Arkanoid had done to Breakout, and this Amiga conversion captures all of its brilliance. Alien Breed Special Edition, 1992, Team 17. The budget re-release of the original Alien Breed that not only fixed a few of the gameplay issues, but also improved the levels, including a much better opening level. Quite simply, one of the best co-op experiences on the Amiga.
Warning, destruction imminent. Warning, destruction imminent. Warning, destruction imminent.
Lamborghini American Challenge 1994, Titus Software. Essentially, this is exactly the same game as Crazy Cars 3, but with a split-screen 2-player mode, and that takes an already great arcade racer and elevates it to the next level. Stunt Car Racer 1988, Jeff Crammond. Wonderful roller coaster tracks and a great sensation of speed made this racing game stand out from the rest when it came out, and it's one of the best reasons, along with Lotus 2, for connecting up two Amigas for competitive races against your friends. Z-Wolf 2 Wild Justice 1995, Binary Asylum. Throw the rolling landscape of Virus and the mission-based gameplay of Desert Strike into a blender, and this is the game that would come out the other end. Simply brilliant. Simon the Sorcerer 1993, Adventuresoft. One of the most charming, witty and well-written adventure games I have ever played, full of entertaining characters and satisfying puzzles. Chris Barry was perfectly cast as Simon for the CD32 version. Syndicate 1993, Bullfrog Productions. A fantastic cyberpunk aesthetic and an oppressive tone made this my favourite Amiga game to come from Bullfrog. Guiding your heavily armed squad around the good-looking isometric levels was immensely enjoyable. It's essentially the thinking man's cannon fodder. Arcade Pool 1993, Mario Savoia. Everyone needs that game which you'll load up just to kill time and chill out, and for me this was that game for about 2 years after it came out. Probably the best tenner I ever spent on an Amiga game. Super Obliteration, 1993, David Papworth. If you want to know why Pang didn't make my top 100, look no further than this game. It takes everything that made Pang great and combines it with Turrican to provide one of the most enjoyable shooters that I've ever played. Even more shocking when you realise that it's a public domain game.